The bearish divergence which we outlined on the prior shows last week is starting to play out on Bitcoin, and you can see that with the price action pulling back at the moment. And if you have a look over here, here is the bearish divergence between the RSI, the OBV, and price action. So I can see Bitcoin price is kind of hovering within a parallel channel over here. So we'll first have to see when it gets down to this mid-level at about 27,500, how that acts as support. But nevertheless, as the show title suggests, there are some altcoins which are outperforming both Bitcoin and ETH, which we plan on identifying on today's show. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. And I wanted to start off over here with the crypto bubbles chart. It always works out nicely just to kind of gauge on the hourly what's going on with the market. So a couple of coins still holding up. These are the ones with relative strength, and these are the ones that you typically want to look at within the market. So when the market pulls back, those ones that didn't dip too hard are usually the ones that are going to pump even harder when the market does bounce again. So keep a close eye out on this. Follow the crypto bubbles chart. It definitely is something that's worthwhile just to let your eye catch what really stands out there. So if you look over here at this tweet, Bitcoin's historical monthly returns, it basically suggests that if you look at the prior months, there was green, where there was a green April, 4 out of the 5 times there was a green May that followed that. So the narrative is oftentimes that you should sell in May and go away. And will this time be different? Well, if you look at what the data set suggests, then technically as long as April closes, which is why this monthly close is going to be so important, as long as April closes green, then there could be follow through into May with another green month. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Are you going to sell in May and go away? Also, let me know if you are present. I see Banter Girl, she says she's selling in May and leaving. We got 𝗍𝗿𝗄𝗃, Gonzo, Tom, Reese, G-Man, we got Matthew in the house, Luke the Sniper, we got the 𝗕𝗆𝗃𝗃. I see Chaos is also in the house. Welcome back, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Also, before we get going with the rest of the show, make sure to take 1 second out of your day and smash the like button. It does help to get the algorithm going, which means that the show gets out there to more people. I'd be much appreciated. So let's continue over here. The best performing asset in each calendar year is most of the time Bitcoin. And you'll notice around those brutal bear markets, so 2014, 2018, and 2022, there were other industries which obviously outperform Bitcoin, but for the most part, comparing to all other assets, Bitcoin is still the best performing asset that's out there, which is why it's so important as well, by the way, when you are making your coin picks, that you make sure that if you are trading altcoins, that their charts are outperforming the Bitcoin pair or Ethereum pair, because for the most part, Bitcoin is the best performing asset that's out there in the long run. Okay, scheduled economic events which you should maybe pay attention to this week. So I wouldn't say too much on the economic data side, but there is going to be a whole bunch of different tech earnings which is coming out, as well as bank earnings, and these might be market drivers of the stock market. So just bringing that to your attention, nothing that I'm heavily focused on, but still something worth mentioning and keeping a close eye out on. Okay, quick mention as well with 𝗬𝗎 Network. So a lot of people were heavily disappointed with 𝗬𝗎. They're waiting for the airdrop. They farmed wallets expectant that they were going to get an airdrop. But now 𝗬𝗎 Network is going to release 594 million 𝗬𝗎 tokens during community access programs. So no airdrop, and you can basically buy 𝗬𝗎 at a price of 10 cents in general sales. So if you do want to find out more about that, just type in 𝗬𝗎 over here on Twitter. You'll find out all the information. Will take you through to solid Discord groups as well, but ultimately no airdrop will be coming for 𝗬𝗎. So if you were somebody that's farming, you may as well stop. There is not going to be an airdrop for that. Okay, also the funding rates over here are still very positive. If you see on this sell-off, I want to bring this to your attention. If you see the market pull back now based off the bearish divergence on Bitcoin, and it sells off and you start to see a negative divergence over here, so the funding rate goes, not divergence, but the funding rate goes negative, as you can see over here, that would be an opportunity for you to start to look for an entry into long positions, because most of the time when the market structure is bullish, which it is, you have a high time frame break of structure, and we are technically in an uptrend on most time frames that matter. Therefore, you want to be looking for the negative or the negative funding rates over here to signal an opportunity where you can get into the market. So go through to this page over here. It will help you as well in your trading. Next, Bitcoin Bitcoin, pullback levels. So if the market does happen to pull back from here completely and you're going through a full-on reversal, I just want to remind you have an immense amount of support over here. You have the 21 EMA, which is currently rising up over here. That's the yellow one. Then you have the 200 moving average as well as the 200 exponential moving average. And then you have the purple 255. This is a massive, massive amount of support. And I personally think that these lows over here will hold. I don't believe that that's going to break. I think at the moment, the probability is higher that this support will hold than what it will break. So do with that what you will. If price comes back to these levels, I'll definitely be adding to my positions at about that $25,500 level. Next, the VIX. The VIX continues to contract down, so at a very, very interesting level. Remember, we're just a couple of percentiles away from where the stock market topped. So when the VIX comes down to those low levels, remember, a declining VIX is usually an increasing market. So we're 4% away from where the VIX expanded from over a year ago, which was back here. When the VIX goes up, the stock market typically goes down, and the stock market is in fact right at its range high. So it's definitely a very, very interesting level. If the VIX continues to contract down, you would expect that this is going to break through this range high area over here. And I said last week that my belief is that it's more likely that we're going to start to break through this level to the upside than what we're going to reverse over here. And my rationale and reasoning behind that is simply because this range high has been tested so many times. The more times you test a particular trend line, then the higher probability is that you're going to break it. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the 8th time now. The 8th time I think is more likely that we're going to start to bust on through that level over there. You also have the dollar. The dollar is currently contracting back down into that key pivotal level. So remember, we came all the way down to this low over here. We had a big expansive candle on Friday last week when the market closed, and now we want to see is there going to be follow through from here. If the dollar does start to trend back up, then the target becomes the same as what it was previously, the yearly high at 103.49, or not the yearly high, it was just a key yearly level. After that, you reclaim that and you can start to work up towards 104.89. All right, on Bitcoin dominance. So this is one of the main reasons why the altcoins are going down, of course. And unlike the stock market range, I don't think that this one's going to break to the upside yet. And the reason why is because you don't have that many touch points, right? You have 1, 2, 3. So it was more likely that you were going to reject or deviate back down into the main range. And this range provides opportunities to rotate into altcoins and basically to make some quick profits. So that's exactly what you're seeing now across the board. A lot of altcoins are starting to completely outperform both Bitcoin and Ethereum pairs. And if you look at this, I would pretty much be still looking for opportunities in altcoins until such time as you reach the mid-range, which is coming in at 44.24%. Bear in mind, right now we're at 47%, and a move from there to there gives you about a 6% move. That can still result in massive, massive returns. In altcoins, you can get double-digit returns, right? So do keep that in mind. Pay close attention to that. Now, there's been a lot of commentary from a lot of top traders around the whole narrative with altcoin season and whether there is going to be an altcoin season. So I thought, let's have a look at some of their opinions. So, and then you can kind of make your own decision based on the data that you have before you. So here you have Samir Coin. He says, very interesting parallels to the previous cycles. I think that is worth watching for the following dynamic to continue. Bitcoin leading the move, ETH outperforming by following, and then Alt remain timid. This is what a healthy uptrend will be like. So this is at least his opinion. He's looking at this from a fractal. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of fractals, but they do have a little bit of a rhyme to them. So they are worth looking at and kind of just keeping a neutral stance, at least if you don't believe in them, at least it can kind of open up your mind to the potential of how things could play out. So if you look at this, this is Bitcoin all the way back from 2019, where we led up into quite a big rally. So he's showing over here, you got the pit stop phase. That's ultimately what I want to point out to you. The pit stop phase at $5,800. And then obviously Bitcoin rallied from that point onwards. You had the same thing repeat over here, was just after 2020, right? 2020, you had the Black Swan event. Price came up. You have the pit stop phase over here once you broke major horizontal regions or resistance over there. And then off you went. And here we are again. He's saying here, Black Swan event would have been the the FTX collapse over here, and then pretty much price comes up, and he's calling this right now the pit stop phase. So the pit stop phase would suggest that Bitcoin should go up into about that $40,000 to $45,000 region. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think that a $45,000 Bitcoin is possible in the coming months, or do you think that this is just a relief rally which is about to end? 𝗕𝗆𝗃, here's 𝗕𝗆𝗃's view over here. So he's looking at an altcoin season for the next 1 to 5 weeks. And very simply put, one of the reasons is same thing I just showed you here, the Bitcoin dominance. But remember, Bitcoin dominance can trend down whilst the market sells off at the same time. So it's not necessarily 100% certainty that just because Bitcoin dominance is going down, that altcoins are going to rally. So at least in their dollar value, they would rally against Bitcoin though. If you look over here, he's showing 2018 all-time highs. So basically, similar trajectory over here. Price breaks through on total 3 and then recaptures. If you look over here at the 2018 all-time highs, you recapture that 448 billion. And then pretty much that would mean that it's going to be off to the races. On total 3, we've also broken that diagonal trend line over there, which is the first and most important good sign that we have here. And then, of course, the Bitcoin dominance. And then over here, if you look at the total market cap, that's also recapturing important levels, get above 448, and also that could get going. So let's see what 𝗬𝗍 says. 𝗬𝗍's looking at alts and ETH, which has been leading the 24-hour volume. And there's been a large open interest shift to altcoins here, meaning that people are starting to lever up, take leverage positions on altcoins to try and capture on those moves. So there's been a big change over there. Bitcoin dominance, everybody's got their eye on those same levels now, deviating back into the range. And then if you look over here, he says, in this chart, I've compared the Bitcoin dominance and total 3. There's some similarities between the 2021 bottom consolidation when Bitcoin showed strength first before a greater market rally. Confirmation will come above 2021's total 3 valuation of 420. So similar to 𝗕𝗆𝗃, looking for a reclaim of that $420 billion level. And here it is. If you look over here, pretty much you got your total 3 over here, looking for it to recapture 420, and then you have the Bitcoin dominance, which you're looking for that to drop off completely, and that led to major alt runs in the prior years. So there's your prior market rally that you had with the altcoins. And then you have Andrew Kang. Now he's known as one of the top traders, and you can verify this because you can basically track his wallets on Arbitrum. He trades on DEXs, and you can see all of his trades. He's up, I think, $300 million already this year, which is, excuse me, I stand corrected. He's not up $300 million this year. His portfolio size is $300 million this year, but he's up in the millions of dollars. So he's looking as well. ETH and alts lost ground against Bitcoin for 5 months. 5 months of rotation into BTC to unwind, and he says it's party time. So there you have it. Bitcoin dominance coming down. It's party time. That means it's probably worthwhile to start to look for those strong altcoins based on the next rebound. So if Bitcoin sells off here, altcoins come down as well. That would probably be the prime opportunity to start to find strong positions when Bitcoin finds its next major level of support. Where's major support? Remember that 25 to 26K levels, major support. So altcoins are going to sell off with Bitcoin if Bitcoin goes to 25 to 26. Do not mistake in that. But if you get to that level, support holds on Bitcoin. I think that altcoins are going to run harder than what Bitcoin will on the next bounce. So you want to focus on that. Here, TED Talks outlines as well, the altcoin market is set up for a 50% move to the upside, he means. Total 3. If you look at the total crypto market capitalization, that's minus Bitcoin and ETH, you get total 3. And that's printed its first macro higher low since 2021. That's November 2021. Remember, that's when things were running super hard. Ethereum is likely to follow the lead of Bitcoin and consolidate over the coming days or weeks as it's approaching high time frame resistance. And that should give breathing room for the rest of the altcoin market to run hard. Remember, when Bitcoin consolidates and moves sideways, that flow of money moves into Ethereum. When Ethereum moves sideways, that flow of money moves into altcoins because people keep seeking additional risk and they want the gains, and they're going to look for the gains elsewhere, which is where you get those smaller market cap coins which start moving heavily to the upside. So he says market structure has clearly shifted and there's now a clear invalidation here for altcoin bulls. For me, that would be a close below 350 billion on the total 3 chart. So anything under 350 billion is going to print a lower low, and then obviously you have lower lows and lower highs, and then basically the market goes down. So here you can see the trend shift. Let's look at my charts over here. So on my charts, we identified a long time ago, total was breaking out over here. The ultimate target was coming up to 1.326 trillion. And let's have a look here at total 2. So total 2 as well, your upside target is still a little bit higher at 704. But like all the tweets suggest, the real action is over here in total 3. And why is that? Because there's a clear important level that's being taken out, and that is the downtrending trend line as well as the prior range high. You've now closed one 3-day candle above that, and it looks like basically, as long as you're holding above this level, it should provide a lot of opportunities within the altcoin market. So keep a close eye on that. This is why we ran the dollar cost average portfolio. I'll update you guys on this pretty often. Everything is going well. You can see now the Bitcoin P&L is starting to come down and the others are going up, and that supports the thesis, right? There's hard evidence for you, not even looking at a chart. You can see that these portfolios are starting to move up. The altcoin portfolio is below, whilst the Bitcoin one is starting to move down. So the flow of money is clearly rotating, and there's evidence for that right there. So some interesting coins to look at. Grab your notebook. You might want to jot some of these down for to keep an eye on and put them on your watch list, and consider looking at these at the next major support zone. So you got the market is pricing in Injective as if it will front run DYDX. So Injective protocol has been doing exceptionally well. It's at all-time highs, and contrary to popular belief, buying things that are at all-time highs is not necessarily a completely bearish thing. That, I mean, it's bullish, right? You're at all-time highs, and trends tend to continue. So you should not fear, right? You should not fear getting into those kind of coins. And here's Injective. If you look at it like this, look, if you obviously zoom out, you can imagine this could still get a lot higher. If you look at the chart like that, it is pretty much, it just looks like a flat line chart. Obviously, when you expand the chart, then it looks pretty aggressive. But all you need to do is just mark off level to level, right? So price broke above this zone over here. As long as it held that level at 440, it was going up. Went up, found resistance over here. Once you broke that resistance, that was your next support. So you can see the way that this next candle came into that, tested that level at 634, and then price went up. This is kind of your next level that you're dealing with. So if Injective pulls back into the zone over here around that 838, this could be another opportunity. You would expect that when things start to move this aggressively, it will eventually come to a place with Injective protocol where it starts to run sideways and accumulate for a while. That's going to be your opportunity to build a position if you don't already have one, and then you expect the same thing to play out, right? A breakout, put in your next horizontal support level, and you're just playing it level to level to level, and you keep doing that until such time as that trend changes, and then you can just rotate that money out into something else that is in an uptrend. So that's one thing that I'm keeping a close eye on, is Injective protocol. Next, he says here, this is 𝗕𝗏𝗃. Notice how perp dexes are absolutely dominating DeFi in revenue. Ask yourself what happens when volume and activity 10x's from here. Well, it's a common knowledge question. Basically, what happens, the answer to that is the price of those protocols go up because the more they get used, the more they go up, the more attention is brought to them. And most of them, the tokenomics is based around higher TVL equals an increase in the price of the token. So if you have a look over here, you have DYDX, GMX, Level Finance, Lido, Filecoin, MakerDAO, Convex Finance, Synthetics, Curve, and Radiant. I think Radiant has a big unlock that's coming up soon. Check on the Token Unlocks website. That might be one that I would stay away from, but the rest are all fair game and could be considered. So make a note of those. Feel free to go and chart them. I haven't charted all of them for you. Next, Uniswap has 67% of DEX volume market share. So the narrative over here is DEXs, right? Everything is shifting towards DEXs, and maybe DEXs are going to be that next major narrative, right? So everything is narrative driven within the markets. We had like the ICO phase way back in 2017. Then you had DeFi summer. Then we had the NFTs and crypto gaming. And maybe the next narrative is going to be DEXs. I'm not 100% sure, but what I am saying is that playing those narratives is your best bet. Rather than focusing on coins that are down 99.99% because you think, well, oh, if this just makes it halfway back to its all-time highs, I'm going to be a billionaire. Don't think like that. Rather look at the new things that could potentially be narratives, like I just mentioned with that Injective protocol. I'm not saying that's the one. I'm just saying that is an example of how these things typically play out over time. So if you look over here as well, Crypto Gideon, turns out that LVL just flipped SNX and GMX in terms of their 24-hour revenue. To make it more clear how big this is, LVL's market cap is 15 times smaller than GMX, meaning it has a lot of upside potential, and 17 times smaller than SNX. And then he says, yeah, after a recent pump, you surely think I'm too late, and the metrics below will show you that you're definitely not. So a couple of coins there as well for you to put onto your watch list. And then again, if you look at 𝗕𝗆𝗃's report, decentralized exchanges had 13% as much spot volume as centralized exchanges in March. So the know your customer or KYC being pushed by the SEC is definitely going to be a story that you'll hear a lot more about. And therefore, naturally, a lot of this a lot of the funds will move from the SEXs to the DEXs, and consequently, those DEXs are possibly still very, very undervalued. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, guys. I hope that helps. It's something worth looking at. Now, there's a whole lot of coins over here that are in decent zones. I probably need to quickly pull up my list. Give me 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves while I quickly find this. All right, let me grab this over here. I have a list of some that are looking pretty good at the moment. Actually, let me do this. I'm going to open up my WhatsApp over here. I just hope no one messages me. If you're watching the show, Mom, don't message me because it pings the whole time. Then it'll be easier for me to pull up all of these charts for you. Also, while I'm getting that opened up, make sure you guys check out the Discord. The Discord has ample alpha over here. There's so much opportunity and so many trades over here, and we've been dropping trades left, right, and center. You can see over here, we give it to you. We spoon feed you. We give it to you with the risk to reward tool and everything. Most traders do not do that. They're not brave enough to give you the risk to reward tool of showing you where the take profit, the entry, and the stop loss is. But in Discord, you get all of that 100% for free. Your entry ticket into the Discord is you need to go through over here. You need to go into the description below. Make sure that you sign up to Bybit. Make sure you sign up to OKX or to BitGet. Choose one of those exchanges over there. You get sign up bonuses for doing so, and that will give you entry into the Discord. Here is the link. You click that, and then you send through your user ID to the Discord manager, and he will grant you access into the group over there. Okay, so I have everything open. Let's just quickly grab the charts over here. So there are some that are looking pretty good. One that stands out is this, is going to be AVAX. If you look over here, he has AVAX against Ethereum. It is starting to form a double bottom at the moment. That was posted in the Discord. I think it's already 5% up since we posted it, which is why you want to be in there. That is definitely where the alpha is at. Another one that stands out over here is Litecoin. Litecoin against Ethereum is also looking pretty damn good. So look at that cup and handle that's currently forming at the moment. So if you're thinking of buying Ethereum, you might actually be better off buying Litecoin. Their halving is coming in August, and that halving cycle often leads to massive, massive pumps. Now, I'm not advocating that you add Litecoin to your HODL portfolio for life and put it on a ledger. Definitely not suggesting that. But is it a trade that's worthwhile right now? Definitely. It's definitely a trade that's worthwhile right now. Let's see. I think I had a couple of other ones that might be over here. Let's just check the list. All right, let me have a sip of water. All right, guys, let's continue on over here. Let's have a look at my chart. So some that I've, I'm losing my voice all of a sudden. 1 sec. Was that the donkey one? All right. Okay, very sad, guys. I'm losing my voice. I was meant to push this one over here. We have this soundboard with all these mixes on here. All right. GNS is also one of the DEXs. Let's have a look how this is in relation to its levels. So almost broke out of that diagonal. That's why you don't want to front run things. Wait, it's pulling back at the moment. If you get another opportunity into the pink zone, good area to possibly find a position. Optimism broke its diagonal. If you get a retrace back into this level over here and it holds, that is an opportunity for you here. There we go. All right, next, 𝗬𝗏𝗏. 𝗬𝗏𝗏 also going to be pulling back. This is one of the trade opportunities that we gave. Coming back into the entry over here, I would still say the trade's valid. If you're in the trade, probably don't re-enter right here. Wait for a deeper pullback. I'd probably lower the risk to reward to something like that. Therefore, you can enter at about 876. Aptos. Let's see Aptos. Here's Aptos. Okay, Aptos is coming close to being stopped out. I wouldn't enter over here. If you enter, just hold it until it gets stopped. You could possibly re-enter based on the Bitcoin bearish divergence now. If that bearish divergence starts to play out, then of course you would expect that some of these altcoins may come back down into their support levels, and therefore you're going to get an amazing opportunity into those coins. Here's the Dogecoin. I think Dogecoin could be a good opportunity if it gets back to its trend line, which is going to be at about 8 cents, around that 8 cents level. Let's see Litecoin. Here is Litecoin. So remember, I showed you the Litecoin against Ethereum chart looks pretty good. If it can hold above this mid-range level over here, then you're talking about the range high and then clear that level and it's going much, much further. Atom. Let's see Atom. Okay, Atom's not really worth looking at in my opinion. DYDX, here was another good one. So I also wanted to bring up some of these tweets that I found. So if you here look at DYDX, I gave this trade as well on the, I don't know if it was the previous show or the show before that one, but it was on one of the live shows. Everything's also in Discord over there. So you are in the money over here. And let's quickly open up this tweet. Okay, there's the tweet. So he says, we could be just entering the possible start of the FU. Please give me a pullback, please, cycle, part of the cycle for alts. DYDX is entering the green, and it's a good sign of things to come. Keep a close eye out and pay attention. So here's kind of the pattern that you get. You get the whole accumulation phase over there, small breakout, retest, and then usually you get the expansive phase that goes to the upside. So targets on DYDX, if this does play out, would be in between that $6 and $7.50 zone. I do want to reiterate, guys, be very, very careful. You still need to use Bitcoin as your proxy. If Bitcoin's pulling back, wait for Bitcoin to hit support. When Bitcoin hits support, then that's where you make your switch into altcoins. You don't want to necessarily just blindly start longing everything because people are posting charts to 1 million. I remember in November, people were still posting charts that looked like they were rational and made sense, with Bitcoin going to $450,000 in like the next 6 months. And as you know, we didn't even get close to that. So definitely be very careful around that. GMX. Okay, here you have GMX breaking out of this triangle over here. You got the major resistance area, which you're now looking to flip as support. So any tests that come back into this 83.67 zone, or even if it gets a little bit lower and comes back into the range temporarily, I think that's okay. So if you see it come down and it holds over here, that would be a worthwhile buy. Your main invalidation is going to be underneath that wick, which is at about $74. Next, what else do I have? Just scroll down. I had a couple I wanted to mention to you. All right, let's see. Okay, let's go to Kujira. Kujira is one. Kujira's are built on Atom now at the moment. So let's quickly pull up that tweet as well. So he says, not on any major exchanges yet, almost fully diluted, one to potentially hold for the bull run. I also agree. I think that Kujira could potentially be very good. Kujira was initially involved with Luna, but obviously Luna collapsed. So they moved the whole protocol onto Atom, if I'm not mistaken. And ultimately, because it's almost already, the tokens are all fully released, then it could potentially potentially be a good play, right? There's not going to be as much selling pressure, and therefore if you have a good chart set up over here, you'll be looking for big things to come. If you are looking to establish a position on this, ultimately I would be looking for these pullbacks that come into this region. As long as you don't violate those wicks at about 55 cents, it could be a worthwhile entry. If you start to violate that level, you're coming back down to the range lows, and then you can probably establish another level around that 40-cent zone. But remember, this is something that you could potentially play for the long run. I do think that they are a promising prospect. Then you also got rocket pools. So rocket pools definitely been a hot narrative at the moment, and the reason why is because of the liquid staking, right? Once the ETH got unstaked, basically rocket pool offers one of the best staking options for those ETH hodlers. And if you look over here, rocket pool TVL, let's click on that. So the total value locked is pretty much climbing on DeFi Llama to all-time highs for rocket pool. So it also could be a worthwhile trade opportunity. It's also in price discovery mode, so heading towards those highs. And then you got the TVLs growing fast after the 𝗕𝗵𝗄, so the ETH Shanghai upgrade. Sorry, I said ETH merge, I mean Shanghai upgrade, and it's now sitting at $1.4 billion. This puts Rocket Pool at a market cap to TVL ratio of 1 to 0.2, or 1, and which is pretty good. And then you have, as comparison, Lido's market cap ratio is 0.18. So there's still a lot of room for Rocket Pool growth if it is something that you're looking to add to one of your portfolios as well. Let's see, is there anything else? Rose, yes, I think Rose was one that's also pretty hot at the moment. If you look over here, basically, he said here, adding Rose to the list, interesting high time frame structure and a potential range low reclaim. These types of structures are the ones that send coins vertically, and it looks like it's lagging behind the other AI coins like FET, AGIX, and ORAI. So let's have a look. He's got a chart in here as well. I don't necessarily see it in exactly the same way, but here you got the Rose chart. So he's looking for a big breakout into that level towards 25 cents. And if you look at the other AI coins and the way they played out, this is exactly the same pattern. So from a fractal perspective, it is the same. But when you do look at the chart over here, this is ultimately what I'm seeing. So you are coming towards major resistance on the upside of here. I think I'd rather wait if I were to play this, and you're going to get it all the way to that 25 cents, like you said. I think the better play would be first to clear this level, hold above that level at 8 cents, and then you still got a big move, right? 8 cents to 25 cents, if his thesis plays out, is still an enormous move. What's the point of longing into resistance here? And it just turns back down into the range. Probably not worth it. But again, the reason I'm doing the show and the reason I'm mentioning this is not to tell you after the fact, but to give you these things before, so you can put on your watch list. Put on your watch list, set your alerts, mark out the chart the way that I have. That's the level that you want to see cleared on Rose. Okay, let's see. Was there anything else? I think that's it on the altcoin front. Let's move on. The other thing I wanted to tell you, when you are looking at these altcoins, go to Coinalyze. They have a whole bunch of coins. This is as simple as how it is. All you need to do is, if you go through onto here, mark off your coins. So if you're looking at GMX, you want to type in funding rate. So all you do is you go to it, and then you type in indicators, type in funding, aggregate funding rate, click that one. It's going to put the funding rate on. You can see if it's over leveraged or not, right? So if you look at, this is what GMX. So GMX is still actually okay. Look at the funding rate over here. Yes, the funding rate's gone positive, meaning that people are favoring the long side, but it's not ridiculously positive. It's not at such extreme levels that you can't justify buying something like this. So that's just a fun trick. I like to use it. I go through all the altcoins I'm about to buy and check where the funding is. If it's in an uptrend and the funding rate's negative, that's an even better indicator for me to go long, because most of those short sellers are going to have momentum against them because the trend's up, and consequently they're going to be forced to close those positions out, and therefore they're going to get a short squeeze, or they're going to get squeezed out, and price is going to go higher based off that short squeeze. Okay, let's go into Bitcoin pivot level. It is coming at the moment into the 8 exponential moving average on the daily, which is a historically in these trending moves, it's a support region, right? If it does start to lose that, you can look down towards this 34 EMA, the white one, as the next area of interest. But currently, price is below the pivot level. Here's your pivot level. Every day I update you on the pivot level. Today, your pivot level is 30,270. If Bitcoin can get back above 30,270, momentum will be back to the upside. As long as it's below that, momentum is to the downside, and you'd expect that this bearish divergence is most likely going to play out. All right, what else? We got super guppy indicator, still bullish over here. I brought this up because you can also very quickly check how your altcoins are doing. Just look, is it green or not? Just click through your altcoins. Is it green or not? A lot of them have only just started to flip green. I'm not going to go through all of them over here. I'm just showing you an example. Is it green or not? That's what you want to ask yourself using the super guppy. Okay, the volatility is going to be coming back down. I did tell you guys that. I said if Bitcoin's bearish divergence plays out, this is what I said last week, expect that the volatility is going to recontract, and it could provide a nice base to potentially find new long positions on Bitcoin. So what I mean, well, if this starts to, with the Bollinger Bands contracting in, and you get this consolidation and the volatility squeezes back down, then remember, periods of low volatility whilst price is consolidating usually leads to big moves, and then you have a tighter range. When you break that range and volatility starts to come back up, then off you go towards the upside, hopefully once again, depending on, as long as the structure isn't broken to the downside. Next, potential is going to be the power of 3. I also showed this on last week's show. If you do start to hold momentum to the downside and you start to lose these levels, once you already start to get under about 29,700, I would say, then there's a higher probability that you're going to get that next expansive phase. So what is the power of 3? For those of you who are new, remember, price usually goes through a consolidation phase, then manipulation, which would be this, or you can just call it a deviation, deviates back into the range. Once you deviate back into the range, you get expansion towards the downside, and then you need to look to your next major support, which is over here at about 25,000 is the major support. I still think support will probably be found before then, but that's your major support. Okay, what else? I think that's about it, right? Lastly, there is one more thing. Make sure that you check out over here. If you go to OKX and you click there, we are still running the competition. All you need to do is take a trade, and basically you're in the competition. So you need to open an account. What can you win? 2 Manchester City Football Club tickets, 7-night holiday in the Maldives, obviously for you and a significant other. And then you can win a Tesla Model 3. Maybe you already have a holiday in the Maldives and you're stopping in Manchester City for the football game, and you're driving there in your Tesla 3 when you arrive. If that is so and you win, that's okay. You can take the prize money, which is on the left-hand side over here. So that's 50K, 7,500, and 5,000. And that's it from me, folks. Please make sure that you smash the like button, hit the bell notification as well, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And then I'll see you all in tomorrow's show. Cheers for now.